Welcome back to Full Court TV. I apologize for not posting for a long time. I've just been kind of demotivated to just make videos lately. So I really want to try and start making weekly videos again. So again, I apologize. Number two apologization is my mic died for my camera, so if it's kind of crackly, echoey sound on the camera, that's why. I don't have another battery for it, so yeah. So I figured today, I'm in Boise, Idaho. As you can see, I'm in a hotel room right now. Today I'm going to do a review on my North Atlas Novus deck. Reason being is I got a Transit Lagouche deck. I'll probably do another video with a skater check just to show you. So the reason why I got a new one is just because mine's starting to crack, and I'll show you that. Alright, so this here is the North Atlas Novus deck. This is the 5.5 or 5.5 by 22. Now I've had this deck since November of 2018, and I gotta say that this thing is a freaking tank. This thing is so heavy. There are other 5.5s and even 6s out there that I believe are lighter than this, and it's just made out of a heavier steel. It's just heavy. It's made out of the same things that TSI is made out of. I think it's 6061 chromoly. It's not bananaed or anything, but it is cracked along the welds here, right there, and a little bit there. It's also cracked along the front right there. Since I was going to Boise for 4 days, I figured I probably want another deck just in case something happens to this one, then I wouldn't be able to ride while I'm up here. So it comes with these deck ends, and what's cool about them is it holds the 1/2-inch net that your axle threads into, so you don't have to have a wrench or vice grips, whatever kind of janky situation you get. You just need a 6mm Allen wrench for your axle, and then it just holds it and you tighten it, and wham bam, thank you, man. North, when you get their decks, they give you 2 sets of spacers, one for 24mm wheels and then one for 30mm. I have the bigger ones, so I run 24mm, but you have the option of running 30mm if you want. I have not done, well, I don't know how big the foot space is on it, but for me it's kind of small. Reason being is the head tube isn't actually flush at the front of the deck, as you can obviously see, but then the head tube at the where it meets at the deck part is really long, so it takes up a lot of foot space. But I found that with their brakes, if you move it back, pretty much if you don't run 120s, you can just run 110s. You can slide it back for the brake to run 110s, and it'll give you another inch of foot space. So I found out that feels pretty good. It's obviously integrated, but I think the cool thing that North does, and not a lot of I don't think I've ever seen companies do, is they have their company logo cut out on the front of the deck, which I've always thought that was kind of cool, because usually it's just a square cutout on the front. So I always thought that was pretty cool. Another thing that makes this deck heavier is, unlike the Transits, the deck I believe is 3/4 of an inch thick, and I think the Transits are a 5/8. So it does make it a little bit heavier. I think I had the weight of my Transit weighed, and it was a 4 pounds 2 ounces, I think. So that's still pretty heavy, but this one is definitely heavier. Also because it's a 5.5 instead of a 5.3. My favorite thing about the deck probably is the flat bottom that it has. I kind of made an overcrook groove on it from practicing so many front over crooks. So the thing I found out that was awesome about the flat bottoms is they just like they slide on things like so much better. Like you don't get caught up on like holes or like kind of, you know how some decks have the rails that kind of go down, but then like in the middle it's kind of like a little bit lower. Kind of how if you've ridden a transit deck, they're like how I'm talking, or even like flavors or like lucky decks. It's pretty much like the standard in a lot of decks where it's just like it's got two rails, but in the middle it's like a little bit lower, like in. So without that, it just seems like it doesn't get caught up on little things. It slides super good. So probably like the best grinding deck I've ever had, just because it doesn't get caught up on anything and it just pushes right across whatever you're grinding across. Nose blunts. Comparing this to the transit deck as well, the transit kind of has little, I guess, angles like right here where it's kind of just cut into the deck, so it's like goes up like this and then like that. This one is just slightly just kind of curved around the edges, so it's pretty much flat on the front. Now this deck does get into nose blunts pretty easily if you are not running 120s. This deck, like, you don't have a lot of blunt space if you're running 120s, because I was running the North Pentagon wheels, which are 120s. If you're gonna run this deck, I recommend running 100s instead of 120s, just because of clearance and all that. Okay, down to the brake. I don't know if you can see it, but it is cracked right here, like all the way through, and I have a couple other little cracks on the bottom. I really like the brakes on North decks, but it kind of cracked right there. Not that it makes a big deal, but the thing that I've noticed with their brakes, at least the brake that came on this, was so you got 3 holes that you can adjust it for 120s and 110s, and the nut for them is kind of like, it's almost like soldered to the brake in like 4 different little spots. So the little nuts kind of like they could break off really easy, and so then it'll just like spin. You have to have like a crescent wrench, because it's not really like an actual bolt. It's just like a square piece of metal that has like threads into it for the bolt to like screw into. So it's not like an actual size. So you need like a crescent wrench to pretty much like get in there and like hold it and then tighten it with like a 4mm Allen wrench. And I always notice, like, after the little I guess square nuts broke on me, like my brake would always be getting loose and just like rattling around. If you are wanting a North Atlas, they do come in a 5.25, 5.5, and a 5.75. So you can't get them in a 6, but you definitely have a few different options, and I believe they come in 22 and 23 as well. So these decks will run you about 190. That's about standard for deck price. They usually range about like 180 to like 220, maybe around in that price range. So decks, not this deck, but just decks in general. So 190 is like a good like medium. Yeah, it'll last you a really long time if you can handle the weight of it. One more thing that I have to say is because of the boxed ends and these plugs, the deck plugs, since there's like so much weight in the back of the scooter, like you gotta really like whip it really hard to get like whips around. So if you're someone that likes to do like a lot of whips, like triples and quad whips, then this deck's gonna be pretty hard to like toss around, because it's so heavy in the back. And yeah, you could take the deck ends out, but then you have to find like a whole different like bolt that'll fit for your axle, which is just like a little tiny thing, and I've taken them out, and the deck looks pretty ugly without them. So also I wish that they would do, because they're pretty much just like square. So I like what Proto, Aztec. I think Drone has some. Tilt. It's rounded in the back, or at least it's like kind of like curved. These ones are just square, so if you want to do like 5.0s and stuff like that, the balance isn't super good. It's a little sticky because you're on like kind of like an edge. So if it was like more rounded, I feel like it would be more. It would slide better, and it would just like the balance would be a little bit easier to hold. Alright, that's it for this review. If you're wanting to support this channel, you can pick one of these decks up off of Amazon through my link in the description. It's an affiliate link, so if you buy it through that affiliate link, I get a little bit of a cash back. So if you want to support me, go through there and pick up one of these decks. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.